Hey beautiful people, I'm Kelsey Kalor and this is my astrology channel. So for this video, as we have the big giant planets going out of retrograde, we have some of the smaller planets going into retrograde. Go ahead and like and subscribe so that you can get the latest forecast in astrology with me. But y'all, before we jump into talking about Mars retrograde, I wanted to cover what we have coming up December 7th, which is Neptune finally going direct. So in the last 5 months, Neptune was in retrograde, and we spent a lot of our time uncovering illusions and deceptions that we've always had. We might have also spent a lot of time reevaluating our spiritual values and our spirituality in general. Like some of us might have went back into being religious or our spiritual practices. Unlike Mercury retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, because it's a bigger planet, this means that its effects were a lot more graceful, so it's been a stretching process for us. This transit had a lot to do with confronting our unconscious mind and behaviors. It also had to do with reevaluating our addictions and just generally the things that we've created in our heads. It also repressed our ability to escape into our regular fantasies as well, which allowed reality to sink in and sink in pretty well. Now that Neptune is about to visibly move back in its regular direction in its native sign, Pisces, you can use what you know the truth about now and create it into how you want it to be. But remember not to fall back into your old escaping habits. Because for the addicts out there, the grass is truly greener in the real world. What we want to do now is have a sober awareness when approaching our dreamlike endeavors. If you're overly yielding to a certain situation in your life, it's time to combine it with some firm boundaries or some structure. Pisces and Neptune represents the parts of yourself that could be looked at as your weaknesses or the parts of yourself that are ignorant. But before you get mad at me, there's always duality to every zodiac sign. Let me explain. These weakened parts of yourself or ignorant parts of yourself are just the parts that you need to learn how to defend, because it's the most precious, wonderful part of yourself and actually possesses some super healing powers. Now that Neptune is going back in its regular motion, we can feel our sense of creativity, spirituality, and intuition coming back that will lead us to our personal growth. Okay guys, so now the moment you've been waiting for, let's go ahead and talk about Mars in retrograde. So December 6th to February 23rd of next year, we have Mars going into retrograde, in Cancer to be exact, and then it's going to retrograde going into Gemini. Now, if you don't know that much about Mars and what Mars plays in our solar system, this planet is known for its aggression, its sex drive, simply your drive and your assertive power, what you do to get what you want, overall describes your behavior. And a lot of the times we can get our Mars sign mixed up with our sun sign. Our sun sign talks about more about our personality and how we want to express ourselves in life. Mars plays a part in how we behave unconsciously. It is your primal power. It can be very beneficial to our life, and it can also be very bad. It depends on what role Mars is playing sometimes, but let's hope that Mars is on all of our good side. So now that Mars is going in retrograde, it's going to affect how we assert ourselves. So the way that we assert ourselves can be a little frustrating now. It can feel kind of delayed, and instead what we're going to do with this time is reevaluating how we want to approach and initiate ourselves and how we want to behave towards certain things. How you behave might need some reevaluation. Well, yeah, Mars has a lot to do with our attitudes and how we fight. Now it's in retrograde, we might want to consider how we want to combat to things. This retrograde can make you feel more lethargic, more passive and tensed up. Like, it can make you feel like you don't want to do anything, but at the same time, you find it hard to relax and unwind too. But you also might feel snappy and impatient at this time just because you want to feel something. And because you're used to things moving how you want them to or moving normally. This time could cause you to struggle releasing tension and relieving stress. You could find it difficult to act on impulse right now. You might be second guessing yourself. And be careful that hesitation and fear could cause you to miss opportunities. Mars retrograde has an impact to make us feel regrets, depression, apathy, and even some paranoia. It causes you to reflect on your sex life, your sense of drive, and even your anger. So in moments like this, recalibrate your energy and take stock of your passions and your ambitions. So the next almost 3 months is going to make you want to reassess your instinctual energy and willpower. Now let's talk about what it means going into Cancer. This year is gonna pretty much teach us about trusting. So just like how you trust your mama's cooking, you want to trust how you assert your willpower. But be careful. Cancer is known for holding on to things, storing things for just in case, keeping something safe, and protecting it, just like a mother. This moment should show you to not hold on to things just for holding on to it. At this time, manipulative measures could be taken against you, or you could be the one doing it. You'll tend to try to control your emotions and appear practical, but beneath the surface, you're reluctant to change your current situation. This period can cause some emotional outbursts. Emotions and sensitivity that you haven't managed could interfere with your ability to take action on things, which could trigger some health issues or feeling grumpy. Mars retrograde in Cancer could lower your nurturing instincts and heighten you towards taking revengeful actions over your grudges from the past, rather than connecting with what's relevant and what's present. Apparently, this is also not an ideal time to start anything new or important as far as foundational matters. And that's because Cancer is a very unstructured aspect. It's the opposite of Capricorn, which rules structure, but Cancer is more about protecting and storing and being willing to trust what's around them. Cancer's focus is on being comfortable, but Mars retrograde is going to shake its boat a little bit. So make this moment about moving in directions that are more natural to you rather than in directions that make you feel unstable. So back to what I said about you changing your current situation. Just know that when you do, the life that you want to come to fruition will begin once you give up certain things that don't make you feel so natural about yourself or comfortable. Now, before I mention Mars in retrograde going into Gemini, how we want to navigate it going into Cancer is by understanding that we need to have compassion for others without losing ourselves, and trust your intuitions to guide you instead of having these emotional outbreaks. And this also means to take action doing things that take care of your emotional needs. So do some self-care. Now, around January 12th, 2025, that's when Mars retrograde will start transiting into Gemini. Now, what that means is that communications, our neighbors, our classmates, or anything that involves education or learning will experience some passive aggressiveness. Your mental drive can stall at this time. Conspiracy theories accelerate. Heated thoughts, beliefs, and ideas could get rearranged, causing some misinformation. Shady conversations could come about. When it comes to false narratives, it's crucial that you gain your facts and analysis with full thoughts and depth beforehand. It's also a really important time to get in touch with what you've been accepting on the surface this whole time, but has been building up like emotional junk. So Mars retrograde transiting this aspect can disrupt some social patterns. This could be within some Gemini characteristic settings, school, neighbors, roommates, siblings, or through any communication devices. On a lighter note, this moment can turn your drive back to some social interests that you had in the past. Past education comes around, running into old teachers. I did. He had the high school t-shirt on and everything. Former neighbors, or your former neighborhood, communities, you know? You probably have to go back to your old communication devices or means of transportation. Now, the best way that we can navigate Mars retrograde when it goes into Gemini is setting boundaries on the type of information that is being brought to you. Preparing yourself for possible mental battles by journaling it out or venting to somebody who's level-headed and intelligent first. Oh, and it's important to get all your facts straight. Like they say, keep all your receipts. Sharpen your critical thinking at this time. And if you're not for all the drama, the best thing that you can do is ask questions. Gemini is notorious for being curious, so make your curiosity productive. Mars going in retrograde. Every retrograde that happens in our solar system happens because it's meant to be a reminder for us. So the purpose of Mars going into retrograde is to fuel you with motivation and rebuild your momentum so that your abilities can support reaching your goals. So make these next 3 months count. Now, if you want to know more about Mercury retrograde when it comes to your chart, go ahead and get a reading with me one-on-one. Click the link below in my description and we can gain insights about what's coming forward for you. All right, guys, if y'all want to know more about the Cancer zodiac sign, check out the videos in my channel and don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can check out my next video coming soon. Bye.